How would real estate be affected if the United States entered a global conflict? Steve Trang, let's start with you. Your 45 seconds.
Well, I think it's interesting to see what's going on in the world today, right now, even though we're not actually entering a global conflict. We're just kind of do it, by proxy. I think if we were to enter a global conflict, there'd be more uncertainty. And uncertainty is just a stagnant market. So I don't think prices are going to go up or down. I think there'd just be fewer people moving. So I don't think it's going to affect pricing. I think it's just going to affect volume, which I don't know how much lower volume can go. But, I think we're about half as where we were last year. But yeah, I think if we enter a global conflict, maybe we even go a little bit lower in activity, but I don't believe it'll affect the housing market as far as values.
Okay. All right. And you were under the 45 seconds. Good job. Leon, let's go over to you. How would real estate be affected if the United States entered a global conflict?
Weasel, I like how you gave the boss man a good job on that. Just a little pat. Very nice.
We all need love. Just because I'm a psychopath doesn't mean I don't have feelings.
Every once in a while, Steve actually accepts it. Not most times, but global unrest. My answer is simple. Global unrest makes everyone nervous, scared, and hesitant. And when you have a nervous, scared, and hesitant market or markets, people stop investing. People stop using that extra money on other things. So it's like to Steve's point, he did say that, it may not affect prices because we're about as bottom in some markets like Phoenix, where you guys are, not necessarily bottom, but as low as they've been in a very long time. The other part of this is supply chain. As a flipper, Jimmy will be able to speak to this as well. Supply chain issues is the biggest worry I would have as someone that buys, fixes, and holds assets.
All right, perfect timing. Everyone's sharp this AM. I like it. Jimmy,
Jimmy?
Let's go over to Jimmy. Let's see what do you think about how real estate would be affected if the United States entered a global conflict?
I completely disagree with Steve and Leon. As long as it's not a global conflict where we're like throwing nukes at each other, soldiers and bombs and everybody costs money. So what the government will need to do is print money. So if we entered a global conflict, as long as it was limited, such as our conflicts in Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, the government would be forced to lower interest rates again. It would be game on again in the real estate industry, even though it's still kind of game on. But interest rates would have to lower. People would flood to hard assets. So they go to gold, silver, and bullets. And then the next closest hedge to those hard assets that actually cash flow is real estate. So, and then little history lesson. How much time do I got left?
2 seconds.
Keep going.
All right, the little history lesson. Real estate blew up after Vietnam. After we won Midway, the stock market and real estate blew up in World War II. The reason 2008 happened was because 2001 happened because we had to go into global war on terror, had to lower interest rates to pay for the wars. So I would like to somewhat respectfully disagree with both Steve and Leon. But if we went into a global conflict, if we weren't throwing nukes at each other, it would be just like COVID, where it would be off to the races because of low interest rates again.
That was very nice of you, Jimmy, but we don't need to respectfully disagree in here.
Never waste a good emergency, Steve.
Jimmy, you are a former Army Ranger, so I respect your respect. You can disrespect Steve on this show, though.
Okay. But there's an intricate link between warfare and investing. It's a very interesting history that I had a bunch of time to study. So sorry for geeking out on you.
Oh, that's totally fine. I mean, we got an expert on this. That's pretty cool. So that's good.
Yeah, but the government always they made up an emergency with COVID, and we all turtled up for 2 weeks, and then we all blew up. Same thing would happen as long as we're not throwing nukes at each other.
Yeah, because you look in the history, right? Growing up, we learn, back when they used to teach history, that every world war, the economy boomed, right? But I thought it was because they had to print tanks and make bullets and guns and whatever. But you're saying because they need to make so many assets, they need to print more money. They need to lower interest rates.
Yeah, how do they pay for this? I'll never forget. In Iraq, we shot every day. It was awesome, but it was target practice every day. And it never occurred to me hey, what's paying to feed me and what's paying for these bullets? And it was government borrowing.
Well, there you have it.
I do want to take a quick second to welcome back CJ. Looks like we got over some of the technical difficulties.
Oh, hey, thanks for joining us, CJ.
Yeah, Jimmy, welcome to the show. Hey, listen, guys, I'll say this real fast. It's good to see everybody, but it's like when I was growing up, right? Leon, make sure you check in next time. But when I was growing up, all right.
I'm sorry, I didn't kiss the ring. My bad, I didn't kiss the ring.
No question. When I was growing up, right, how it would work is we go out to the track at recess, and the fastest kid in the class, myself, right, we would say, you know what, I'm gonna give Leon, Jimmy, and Steve, I'm gonna give them a free lap. Guys, you get a free lap. I'll let you guys take off first. I'll be behind you. I don't want you to quit. All right, I don't want you to quit. So it's good to be back.
Talking a lot of games. Still waiting for you to come out to play some basketball.
I'm working on it.
You allowed me to land in Richmond, which I really appreciate. And you give us a head start, man. I'm winning already.
Nobody can say I'm not a gentleman, man.
Really quickly now, unfortunately, we can't put you into the voting for this one, CJ, but just to get your insight.
Right.
Question number one was,
Doesn't
how would
matter.
real estate be affected if the United States entered a global conflict? Just your thoughts really quickly.
Yeah, I mean, look, right, like a global conflict, is it going to affect the economy? Does it affect real estate? I think 110%. But I think the overarching point at the end of the day is there's a housing shortage. So regardless of where that's going to be at, there's still going to be supply and demand. There's still going to be a need to buy and sell. To me, it's just all about figuring out your spot in the marketplace, being pivotal in what market you're working in, what exit strategies you're utilizing in the business. So, yeah, does it have an impact? Sure. But does it have a detrimental impact in that capacity? I don't think so.